Hey y'all, we are here in Norcross today. Here not for a great reason, a memorial for a good friend. It's going to be over here in Thrasher Park, but I thought we'd take you for a walk anyway through Norcross while we're here. And right here where we're standing was the Brunswick Hotel. Wealthy types would stay at the Brunswick Hotel sipping Coca-Cola on the second floor balcony. And then it turned into the post office. And then it turned into Dr. Wood's Animal Hospital, and that's why we're here, because our good friend Randy passed away. And we are here for his memorial service. But this was the old post office, kind of cool, Wood's Animal Hospital. It was used in the movie The Mutant. Sure was, and there's the depot. During the years of Reconstruction after the Civil War, little towns like Norcross, Georgia, popped up all around the South. A businessman from Atlanta, which was then called Terminus, purchased 250 square acres of land, which is now Norcross. He knew the railroad was coming here, and he purchased the land and the rights to the timber. His name was John Thrasher, for who the city park is named. He named the town for his business partner and close friend, Jonathan Norcross. I have a fairly deep knowledge of the history of Norcross because I researched and wrote several books on the subject of Norcross, Georgia. With the help of talented photographer Kate Autry, we brought to life the Then and Now book, of which I am very proud. There's Thrasher Park. It's seen a lot of changes. After hearing stories of children who would ride their bikes and scooters and roller skates at full speed down the hill at Thrasher Park, it was funny to see a sign that said, "No riding wheeled vehicles in the park." My, how times change. Let's hope they never put out a sign that says no climbing the trees. If you climb that big magnolia tree in Norcross, leave a comment. At the end of the road, there were some movies in that house. We've talked about that before. Let's walk through town real quick, and then we're going to get our chairs and see if we can help set up for the service.
That's a new mural.
Yeah, it is. So Norcross is a railroad town. It was established in 1871. That's after the Civil War, of course. And this rail line came out and it stopped right about here. This would be 20 miles north of Atlanta. It stopped here. It was a rail line called the Airline Bell, and it brought people out here. They were trying to rebuild the South after the Civil War during Reconstruction. Thankfully, the old cotton gin building still exists and has been repurposed. And this building in front of me, well, that was the train building. And that was a central spot here in Norcross. It's got a cool new mural. Oh, look who all's on the mural. The mural of notable Norcross citizens includes Roy Carlisle, still recorded in the Guinness World Book of Records as having hit the longest home run in baseball history. But he's not the only one with a baseball background that started right here in Norcross. Brothers Ivy and Al Red Wingo also grew up in Norcross, along with Roy Carlisle's brother, Cleo. All four boys were drafted out of Norcross, Georgia to the bigs. And here's the downtown of Norcross. Years and years ago, there was a traffic light right here in the middle. If you ever go back and watch an old movie called The Mutant, you'll see the traffic light in this section right here. There also, years ago, was a watering hole, a well, and this was the McKinney's Dry Goods. Now it is a pizza joint. It was Paisano's, now it's Savage Pizza. Looks like they changed it up a bit, but that's okay. And here is Zapata's, another old business hanging in there. Now this is kind of curious because right here, it used to be Johnson's Hardware, yeah. But right here, this section right here, this was an alley. It was called Checkers Alley, and two men used to set up right here and play checkers in the alley. And then one day one day a wagon came, wild horse came riding right here through here and came down the alley and upset their game. And there is a little memorial marker for that. The teenage boy driving the wagon was a young Reps Miller, for whom a local road is named. And then next we have the Iron Horse Tavern. Now the Iron Horse Tavern has been used in...
Used to be a grocery store, Garner.
Yep, this is Garner's grocery store. Now this is the story we tell you about the butcher who started a fight. The fight started with him and Doc Lively, and they both tumbled down the street, and the butcher killed Doc Lively, but it was self-defense. And I'm going to go in and take a quick still shot if they'll let me, because this is a Tulsa King filming location. Let me get a picture of the bunny, and then I want to go in and take one picture.
Move the phone booth out.
Nope, there's the phone booth.
They moved it. It was up there.
There's the phone booth here. Yep. Downtown Norcross. Up the street is the park that was once the city town team ball field. And we're going to go in and take a quick still shot inside the Iron Horse. We'll come back out and do some more filming.
Got a puppy?
Could be. All right, here is the depot. Has a restaurant. It was about to be torn down, and a gentleman saved it so that it wasn't torn down. He started a restaurant there. Now it's the Crossings. There are plenty of markers telling you of what every little old business was. And this was a bank. I believe, Mark, wasn't your grandmother in this bank once when it was robbed?
Yeah. Saying he kept coming back to that bank to rob it.
Royston Merritt Barbershop.
One of P still owns this place up here.
I think that they do.
What's her name? Keith and who?
Keith and Jeanette. Now here's another situation where there was an alley.
Which one of these do they make up like a saloon or bar for that movie? Right here, wasn't it?
I think it was right here. Will Kent's grocery store. Now Mojitos. Now Mojitos has a little ghost called La Nina that pesters and talks to the guys when they're there working. And in between this building, this was an alley. And in this alley is where the butcher shot Doc Lively. And then many years later, they never found the weapon. And then many years later, they were remodeling the alleyway and they found a gun in one of the loose bricks. And this is the 45 South. This originally was the post office. It was a wooden structure and it burned to the ground. And this is where we start the ghost tours. Let's go and see if anybody's home that we remember.
Who's never left? Oh, it absolutely is. In fact, we believe it's a railroad town with an active afterlife, is what we call it. Town historian Sally Toole says it's haunted. Hundreds of people come to Norcross every year to hear the ghost stories. They start out with a lantern-lit guide, and they walk through our town, and they find costume characters along the way. Some of our greatest stories in Norcross are told through these costume characters. They call Norcross a hotbed of historic residual spirits. For 5 years, people have come to downtown for the ghost tour. And we talk about the spirits that linger, and they linger here mostly because Norcross is a party no one wants to leave. Okay, full disclosure. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I'm not a believer. But hey, it's Halloween, so how about a crash course from an expert? How do people know a ghost is around? Sally says some people see something. Other times it's a tap on the shoulder, a whisper in your ear, an orb over your head, in various forms and fashion. Doors getting stuck, for instance. How many ghosts are in Norcross? She says, hundreds. Why do they stick around? Sally says these ghosts like people. Should we be scared? Oh, absolutely not. There's nothing to fear. In fact, I think they're just being playful with us. Now, how can a spirit move something? Psychics tell Sally they draw energy from people. Outside of the ghost tour, where can you find one? The Blue House Market behind us has a lot of spirits. This building, Mojitos Bistro, has spirits. The Iron Horse Tavern, we've seen shadow people there. They're everywhere. Just pick a place. Wow. The ghosts are everywhere.
Cool place. So back in the day, we used to have the door open and shut here all the time. Cooking up some food here. This is where I had my first book signing, remember?
Yep.
We launched our first book about Norcross right in this space right here. We had Hydrangea from the Johnson's house. And then, of course, the old Storytime patio. Used to do story times out here. And this is where we started our ghost tours for many years. Right out here in the alley. Now, the cool story about the alley, probably looks like they had to repair maybe sewer plumbing or
They
something.
had to repair some drainage.
Yep. The cool part about the alley,
Look,
yep, I know. Those
Blue
houses never used to be there. There's the blue house. But the cool part about the alley is the blue house used to be the Adams house. And the Adams family were known to have a blacksmith shop right here behind what is now the Blue House Cafe. Of course, a blacksmith shop would have smoke and fire billowing out even in the summer. this was a great cover for a moonshine still. We like to refer to this story as a whiskey waterfall. It is said that when the sheriff, who had his office here, coincidentally very close to the Adams family blacksmith shop slash moonshine still, he would confiscate the moonshine, and when it got to be too much for his little jail cells to contain, he would say, "I'm going to drain the moonshine." And everybody would run to the end of the alley and get their jars and their buckets and their pails, and they would collect the whiskey as he poured it down this very alley known in Norcross as Skin Alley. Is the blue house used to be the Adams house, and
Paul lives there too.
the space in between. Anybody home? Just surprise? Oh. Hello? They all may be. It's always wonderful to visit our old hometown of Norcross. Unfortunately, this visit was not for a fun trip, but to say farewell to a very old friend. We will always miss our hugs and our drops by the animal hospital. We love you, Tammy and Randy Johnson. We really appreciate all of our viewers, and we're working hard to continue to bring histories and mysteries to you. Help us out if you appreciate this channel by donating for memory cards or gasoline or all the other expenses around this YouTube channel at Sally Tool on Venmo. Greatly appreciated if you could spare a dime.